I just binged all 10 episodes of Netflix's Altered Carbon, and now I'm ready to jump into an epic spoiler-free review. If you saw this show, what are your thoughts on this? Be sure to let me know in the comments. Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Altered Carbon. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. I mean, I binged all 10 episodes in a single day, and I didn't feel like I needed to stop it or that I was really bored. It held my interest, it raised some really good philosophical questions, had some good world building and great characters, so it had a lot of things for me that were really good and a lot of things that I really liked. I mean, of course, it definitely had its negatives as well, but they all do. So, jumping into some of those positives. Overall, I really like the world that it built. I mean, this takes place in the far future, and I love futuristic movies. I love futuristic shows. I love it. And this reminded me of Blade Runner in some of the feel, because Blade Runner taking place on the ground in this future society, but, you know, there's like this dirty, grimy feel with the city and the things going on. That's what this felt like. It conveyed to me that feel. It didn't feel like it was ripping off from Blade Runner, but it was very, very similar. And then you had the Richie Rich people. They lived up in the clouds. They reminded me of the Jetsons. A very dark, twisted, R-rated, evil version of the Jetsons, but it reminded me of the Jetsons because they had their whole apartments on the poles that went way above the clouds. I mean, these really rich people, they lived above the clouds in their magnificent towers. The other thing that was really interesting about this show was the whole concept of immortality. So you have this thing called a stack, and it's this little digital disc. And this disc goes somewhere in the back of the neck, base of the skull or whatever, and it digitizes your memories, your mind, your will, your emotions, your personality, basically your soul. The very thing that makes you you, this digitizes it. So when the body dies, or in this show as they call it, the sleeve, when the sleeve dies, they take out the stack, they unsleeve the stack, and put the stack in a new sleeve. So in this way, humans go from body to body, and they keep on living indefinitely. So what the show does is it takes this philosophical question of, should man have immortality? Because you have this class of people called the meths, and they're not called that because they're meth heads, they're called that because they're named after Methuselah, the longest living dude, period. I mean, in the Bible, this guy lived to be close to 1,000, so he was like the oldest dude, period, and they're like, you know, outliving him, so they call themselves the meths. And basically, these people, throughout their extensive lifetime, they have gathered large amounts of wealth. They have gathered large amounts of influence, so therefore they have large amounts of power. So they really do sit above the clouds in their ivory tower. And to me, this is like a picture. This is symbolic of man trying to take God's throne and take God's place. In fact, they even say that in the show, because there's like religious groups that think, you know, putting a stack in the back of your neck and then being unsleeved and put into a new sleeve, like the moment you wake up in a new sleeve, you're rejected from heaven and you will never be able to enter heaven's gates. Man is appointed once to die, and that's it. You can't go from sleeve to sleeve to sleeve and live forever. That's not how God made things. And so they raise that question, and I think in a very good way. I mean, you see it with people writing, but you also see it with like loving families around the table in some points. I mean, it's kind of a heated debate, but it's a family and they love each other, and they're having a debate about the whole concept of you know, moving from one body to the next, and like, is that really what God wants? And so they raise those religious questions, but then you have these meths who literally sit in their towers on high above everybody else with unlimited wealth. So they could do whatever they want and basically live as long as they want. And so the question it raises is, if you could do that, are you still human? Do you lose your humanity? And to me, it's almost a picture of addiction. So like, when addiction creeps in, it offers something that feels good and looks pretty. But then all of a sudden, that initial, oh, that feels good, isn't enough. And so you got to go a step further and take it a step more extreme to get that feeling back. Now, imagine that with meths, these guys that have lived as long as they've lived, they could do whatever they want to do, and now they're bored. And they keep getting bored. So they have to keep moving to the next level of something extreme to bring some entertainment, to bring some value, to bring whatever they're seeking, to bring that into their life. They have to keep going to the next level of extreme because they just keep on living. They keep on having this wealth. They can keep on doing whatever they want to do. Like nothing is withheld from them, so they keep getting bored. And so they, in a sense, keep sacrificing their humanity. They keep getting more and more numb to things and more callous to things as they keep getting next level extreme just to have some kind of entertainment in their lives. And so that was a really interesting concept and raising that philosophical question of, would that happen if we humans didn't die and didn't find the value in this one life that we live, and everything being so filled with preciousness? Now that that's gone, what does that do to the human condition, especially in like man's fallen state? What does that do? And I thought that was really, really interesting. Plus, then there's me, being a Christian myself. As I'm watching this show, I'm like talking to the show, I'm engaging, and I'm having these questions. So like, you have this really rich dude, and his name is Lawrence Bancroft. Like, he's king supreme, lived a long life, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, okay, so you think every time you move from one sleeve to the next that it's you. Like, you yourself are you, and you're going from one sleeve to the next. However, I think that perhaps the original Lawrence Bancroft, when his body died, he died, and his immortal soul departed into eternity. And so that soul is gone, that body is dead. So yeah, there's a new body here, and it's carrying over the same memories and same personality as the previous body, but that's it. It's just carrying on the memories, but is that really the person? I would have to say not. I'd have to say the original person and the original body, when that body died, they did not live on this earth. They stepped into eternity, and either up there in heaven or way down there in hell, one way or the other, they stepped out of their body and they stepped into eternity. And I'm like, I'm talking to the show about this. I'm like, yeah, are you sure that you're really Lawrence? I don't think you're really Lawrence. And I'm asking that of all these characters, and I move from one sleeve to the next. It's like, yeah, you think you're the same person. I doubt it. I think the original has stepped into eternity, and now you're a different soul altogether. But see, I have fun with stuff like that. So as soon as the show started raising those philosophical questions, I'm having a good time asking philosophical questions back to the show, which obviously can't answer me, but I'm still having a blast, like, engaging that. So, like, for me, that was something that was really fun and a really good positive. The other positive was just the characters. I thought the characters were well written, and they were well acted, and all the actors had a great chemistry together. I mean, you get this circle of characters that you get really close to as this show goes on. And Joel Kinnaman, like, he's the lead dude in this. I've only seen him in RoboCop, and I've only seen him in Suicide Squad. So he's not my favorite actor, and I don't think that's his fault. It's just RoboCop was meh, and I don't think he fit the role of Rick Flag at all. But I could be biased because I didn't like Suicide Squad at all. But that said, he was really well fit for this role. And I feel like the role, like the way it called for his character, like his personality as an actor from what I've seen in those other two movies, it fit really well the character that he was playing. And so there was a lot of strength to the character. He did a great job. He plays this character named Takashi, and I think he does a really good job as this character. So, like, this is the first time I really watched Joel Kinnaman in something that I enjoyed, and I really enjoyed his performance in it. And, it has a lot of other really cool characters. Like, you meet this cop, Ortega, and she is mean, and she is awesome, and she is a fantastic character. When I say mean, I mean she doesn't take no crap from nobody, man. I mean, she is a strong character. She's a fighter, and I just really liked her. I think my favorite character, though, was Poe, who was literally a hotel. Like, it's an AI hotel, and he's the AI that runs the hotel, and I just thought his character was freaking fantastic. He reminded me of Data from Star Trek, having a fascination with humans and humanity and wanting to be more human, and I just really enjoyed him. He had a great sense of humor, and he just fit everything so well, and added just, a perfect little bit of chemistry to this group of people that we get introduced to that end up helping Takashi, Joel Kinnaman, out throughout this movie. So, like, I just thought the characters were so well written, both the good guys and the bad guys. I just thought it worked so well together. Jumping into some of the negatives, one of the negatives for me was just how much nudity was in this show. Now look, what did I expect, right? It's mature. Basically, this show is rated R, so what did I expect going in? You know what? I did expect some, but I just thought there was just so much of it that it did more to detract from the story than it did to even help the story move forward. Another negative for me, like I said earlier, I really like Joel Kinnaman in this role. He played this character, Takashi, who 250 years ago, one of his sleeves was killed, so his stack was taken and put into Joel Kinnaman's body, which is what we're seeing now. But they did these flashbacks, so we got to see Will Young Lee, who played the original sleeve that Takashi was in before. And the interesting thing is, yeah, Joel Kinnaman over here does a really good job, but William Lee over here, he brought a certain charisma to the character that Joel Kinnaman didn't really carry on, even though they're playing the exact same character. Now, again, Joel Kinnaman was good, and what he did was fine. But then once you go and you get all these flashbacks and you see Will Young Lee, it's like, wow, where did that extra bit of charisma go? So, like, I mean, that's kind of one thing that I was kind of thinking back and forth. The other thing, the show as a whole, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really, really fun show. However, I'm not in a huge hurry to go back and catch all the things that I missed. I am curious. They had a good setup for a season 2, so I'd be curious to see where it goes. But even as I'm thinking about it right now in myself, so depending on how long it takes us to get to season 2, there's some small part of me that probably doesn't even want to go back to rewatch it to be set up for season 2. Again, not that it's bad, it's just now that I've been through it, I don't know how interested I'd be to go through it again. I don't know how good that rewatchability factor is. But we'll see if that changes. If we get a season 2 and it's about a year later and maybe I feel like I want to go back through, maybe that'll change. In the end, I'm going to give this show a solid B. Again, it wasn't bad, but it's not like I'm singing the show's praises. Like right now, if I talk to you about Daredevil, I'm going to get super excited about Daredevil. I love Daredevil seasons 1 and 2, and I kid you not, I could go back and watch Daredevil 50 times right now. Sorry, that's an exaggeration. 25 times right now. But you see, that excitement, I'm not carrying it over with Altered Carbon. I liked it. I thought it was a good story. I did enjoy watching it. I do wish, in hindsight, I didn't binge it all in one day. I kind of wish I spread it out. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more if I took it more slow, if I spread it out like that. I don't know. But not a bad show, but not a show that I'm singing its praises and not a show that I'm going to, tell all of my friends they have to watch. However, if you saw Altered Carbon, what did you think of this show? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments what you thought of this show. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Next to the subscribe button is that bell. Click it so you're notified for the next movie review, theological analyses, ranking video, trailer reaction, any other video that I do. Ring that bell so you're notified when that drops. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.